Overdependence on feedback can become your undoing. So you have this desire to become the best in your given sector. The natural gravitation would be to analyze your action. In fact, you're smart enough to understand, if I take action in XYZ direction, I should sit as a professional and analyze every single thing and how to improve that wise. Unfortunately, the extremity of this action can become your undoing. It can erode every single thing you spend decades building. I'll give you a story real quick. As a young man, I always had the desire to become the best at whatever I'm doing in my communication, in my various business. I noticed in my interaction with people, they were not comfortable with me. They're either shy, the atmosphere was incongruent with happiness. As a professional, I sat. What is the best way to correct this negative dissertation? I said conformity. So conformity is like being friends and being happy. I'm a very high IQ individual. I do not tolerate certain things. There are certain kind of discourse you bring to my table, I would not respond. So the brash reality is something I try to scale back upon. And guess what? It worked. The drawback, I felt very uncomfortable. I traded external discomfort for internal. So the problem with that kind of feedback, or the problem, in fact, this is something I came up with on the top of my head. The problem with the overdependence on feedback is it can become your undoing. If you overdepend on feedback, it can become your ruin. Because as I've stated countlessly, everything depends on perception. The same action can produce different outcomes. If you and I look at a fly, one might feel patriotic, the other disgusted. So the same object of focus, different perception. And if we take action based upon our sight, our results becomes vastly apart. The same outcome or the same object, the same focus, but different perception. If you walk up to me and make fun of my height, I'm 6'4", sexy as hell, we'll probably laugh it off. To the average guy who is under 5 foot, the conversation might not end very well. So the same words spoken but interpreted differently. This is a very lazy example, but it is logical. If you are a person who overdepends on feedback, you're most likely encountering the second guy would never make such kind of jokes. For instance, in communication with a lady, you grab her hands in an attempt to gesture her out of a circle of friends. She declines, you interpret that situation as never, no-go area. Once you approach a lady, say what you want to say and leave. Unfortunately, in some situations, it signals confidence. It signals high status, that you believe in yourself. You don't need to ask, you take. Everything depends on who you're engaging with. I was in a business meeting the other day and I said to the guy, the reason why most people do not use your platform is because of XYZ. And I proceeded to give an intense breakdown on why people would not be compelled to use that digital app. Once I was done, everything went well. But as soon as he saw me leave at the back of a Toyota, he cancelled the business. So the same person, but one thing spoils the whole perception. And my friends, I'm not trying to downplay the Toyota brand. It's a very durable car. But in business meetings, especially if you've not build a brand. You should, if you can, portray yourself very highly. I learned that through a very difficult experience. Again, I'm not trying to encourage a fake kind of lifestyle. Live in proportion to your means. But if there's this contract you're trying to seek, you should dress in an appropriate manner, in a manner that signals high value, status. Your overdependence on feedback would lead you to ruin. Again, I'm not downplaying the idea of feedback or trivializing feedback. No, feedback has helped me in my communication level, it has helped me in business. In fact, after this video, I would sit and analyze it 10 times. I would listen to it on 1x speed, and I said it in a podcast that the reason my contents are the best, the reason you listen to my podcast, it's not necessarily because I want it to be that way, but I would listen to this teaching 5 times on 1x speed. So if it's shit, I have to spend hours of my human time consuming such thing. So feedback is good, but the overdependence can lead to your ruin. It can become your ruin. So for the sake of time, we'll end it here. As always, my friends, pleasure speaking to you. See you in the next one.